Culture is identity. It's personality. It's values. It's everything. It means everything to me. But like I said, it defines who you are. And without culture, you kind of you're a lost soul. You're a lost soul. I am Ta Chongwa, and that's how my name is pronounced in my local language. Here in Canada we call it Chengwa. And I am the master of ceremony for this occasion tonight, and for the Bafut people I am assistant social master for the cultural association. So I'm here tonight as a spokesperson for the Bafut people.
My name is Franklin, and I'm the current president for Bafut Mahjong Cultural Association, Calgary.
My name is Patience Neber, and I am from Bafut, and we are here to celebrate the Bafut Mahjong Cultural Jamboree.
My name is Prince Will. I'm from Edmonton, Bafut community in Edmonton, and so we are here to represent our community from Edmonton.
My name is Fanny Ngumazweche. I'm known as Madame Fobete, and a princess from the Manka Palace.
Future Eric Neba from Agiati, Ntaabwe or Mankwi. Any of those three villages, I all belong to those.
My name is Sylvanus Asongani. I'm a real estate agent based out here in Calgary, and I'm originally from Cameroon, and from the Southwest Province. And if I have to really narrow down, I'm from Lebialem, which is one of the divisions in the Southwest Province of Cameroon.
Yeah, I'm Claire Tishu.
My name is Titus Fona. I'm a member of Bafut Mahjong Edmonton. During this occasion, I represent the president of Bafut Mahjong Edmonton.
My name is Nosta. I'm from Momo Division, specifically from Batibo Subdivision. Yeah, from Ashong Village, to be more specific.
What does culture mean to you?
So culture, is there a clear definition of culture actually?
Culture is identity. It's personality. It's values. It's everything. It means everything to me. But like I said, it defines who you are. And without culture, you kind of you're a lost soul. You're a lost soul. It is the values that are instilled in you by virtue of who you are as a human being, where you come from, the people who raised you, the values they instilled in you, and your desire to continue to practice those values. So to me, my culture is my identity. It's who I am, without which I am lost.
You know, when it comes to culture, for everyone, I think it's unique, but for me, absolutely it's identity for me. So it's important where somebody comes from. And when I think about culture, we could be far from home, but where I am right now, especially in Bafut Mahjong, is the most natural environment for me. So this is a place where I see myself, I identify with whatever is going on around here. And for me, identity is the ultimate. So for me, culture is where I come from, and identity is very important.
Culture to me is my identity. It's one's identity. What identifies you and what differentiates you from another person is your culture. So as a Bafut person, the way we do our things, like we sing our Bafut anthem, which is called Mban, the way we dress, the way we perform our traditional dancing, the regalia, it's our culture. It differentiates us from any other people, from any other cultures. And so you can't be a person like the way when I grew up back in Cameroon, and typically in the village, culture represents you in so many ways. always. There is no way you can say I am from this part of the village or from Bafut without knowing your culture. That means you don't even identify where you come from, you don't even understand where you come from, and so not knowing your culture is just like you are lost.
Culture is synonymous with identity, right? If you don't know where you come from, then you don't know where you are going to. So basically for me, what culture is it reminds you of your roots, where you are coming from, and guides you on a path forward.
For the Bafut people, and to us in particular, culture is a way of life, right?
Well, culture is something that identifies you. So culture is how you show, culture is what makes you different from other people. Culture is the way that the people live or grow, or the way the people do things in a particular society. Culture it embodies language, dressing, the way of dancing. These are elements of culture. These are elements of culture because these elements used to identify people and differentiate them from other people, and that is their culture.
Like they say, culture is our identity. So we, the Bafut people here today, we are here to represent that, and it's something that is very unique to us.
As somebody from the BLM, culture is something we the Bangwa people hold at heart, which has to do with protecting or upholding our customs and traditions. That is what culture actually means to us, to be able to uphold some of our ancestral successes, some of our ancestral achievements. That way we can actually pass some of these customs to our children. So the whole idea of custom, or the whole idea of culture, is grooming something that can be passed on to another generation, so as to ensure continuity.
Culture is one of those values which we grew up with, and which shape the way we behave, the way we carry ourselves in the society. And that culture we learned it from our parents, from our great-grandparents, and it makes us who we are, and we see it. It's a very we see it very important to transfer that same culture to our children.
Growing up as a child, our parents used to tell us, Fanny, always remember where you come from. So they used to take us to traditional meetings. I've always loved like doing things the cultural way. Culture is what you take it to be. Culture could be eating achu every day for me. It could be dressing in my traditional regalia. It could be speaking the language. We grew up in a family where my parents didn't really used to speak the language. So every word in Bafut that I speak today is picked from here and there, and I put it together. So that's culture to me. It's a combination of eating the food. It's a combination of like eating the food, dressing in my traditional regalia, going out to meet my people, and speaking the language.
Well, culture is a way of life or a set of beliefs to a group of people. As an individual, it determines how I relate with people, how I talk to people, how I interact with people.
How do you preserve and promote your culture?
We have to come together to teach each and every one, because not everybody has the opportunity to grow where all the cultural aspects are being taught. So coming together like this and being in a community helps to teach people that don't know, and also to teach the kids, okay, that this is where we come from, this is how we do things, this is how we dress, this is how we sing the Bafut anthem, this is how we respect the elders, this is how we do certain things. So that is just part of the culture, that is part of our identity. And so for me, that is how I see culture, and it's such a thing that you used to sell. Like I can say that typically now, like a Cameroonian, this atogo is a culture. It has become like a symbol and a culture of the people of Cameroon, not only Northwest, because anywhere they see you with this, oh, they just identify, oh, it's Cameroon, because it's a part of the culture, and so it identifies you, and it also differentiates you from any other person.
This is one of the ways, absolutely. So we annually try to have these events where we showcase what we as a people are all about, especially in the Calgary Bafut Manjang community. And on such platforms, we showcase aspects of our culture, like the language through our anthem, regalia, traditional regalia, artifacts. We do carry some, and we also promote our culture with regular reunions, cultural reunions monthly, where we come up with more innovative ways of keeping our culture alive, mindful of the fact that we are far away from where we come from. And we also do that by instilling some of those values into our children, by making them regularly attend our monthly meetings with us. So those are the key ways through which I and we as an association ensure that we continue to promote our culture in the diaspora where we are here in Canada.
You know, Bafut Manjang is a very unique group, and it might be the same with other groups, but for me, I think for Bafut people, it is important that every time you come to their meetings, you bring along your kids. And we are just starting on this, I would say, on this aspect where we are trying to teach our kids our dialect. We want them to know how we dress. And I would think that for most Bafut people, especially in their homes, we do prepare a lot of traditional meals. So we want our kids to know how we grew up, what we ate, how we dress, and why these things are so unique to us. So this is one way we are passing it to the next generation. But I also think that Bafut Manjang has gone a step ahead to say we are starting to bring in professionals to teach our dialects to our children. It is just a step forward, but I think that we are just putting things together to also just make them understand that this is who we are. There are more programs that will come up for them to actually learn how to cook our traditional dishes, how to learn the dance, and honestly, it's amazing that the kids can actually sing the Bafut traditional anthem.
The preservation of the Bafut culture is something that is passed from generation to generation. And as a matter of fact, Bafut Manjang is one of the cultural associations that has succeeded to preserve its way of life as a fandom, right? So it's a responsibility from the paramount chief of Bafut to all the other chiefs of the different villages that make up Bafut, and down to the citizens of Bafut. It is our way of life. We cherish it, we love it, and we pass it on to our generations. And most of the time, transmitting this culture from generation to generation is by word of mouth. Our kids see what we are doing, they imitate what we're doing, we teach them what we're doing, and before you know it, they have a handle of what we are doing. So that's how we pass on this culture from generation to generation. And as Bafut people, anywhere we find ourselves, we come together to form a group, share our ideas. I mean, we are social people. We come together, have fun, make merry, share ideas, help each other. I mean, and sympathize with each other in times of difficulties as well. So when people come together, they call it Manjang. Manjang simply means a group of Bafut people coming together. So that's how we try to
like when I came over to Calgary here, I heard about the group Bafut Manjong, and I was super excited because where I came from, like in Montreal before, we didn't have like a very structured group. We just had a few, like we had a few people spotted here and there, and we used to sit maybe once in a blue moon to like just make fun, like just eat at you and tell a bit of stories. But when I came here, I met a structured group and I was super excited. The very first month I came, I think that weekend, we had a meeting, and I went over, and I was so excited to see so many people from Bafut come together and celebrate each other. So culture to me, like passing it on to my kids, I make sure that I attend those meetings every month, right? And if I'm not able to attend the meetings, at least we used to have like Zoom meetings, I made sure I attended. Then if you see, we are all dressed in a traditional attire. I always make sure that I promote my culture by putting on my traditional attire, and just that's it. Just try to speak the language when I can. I'm not very fluent in it, but I would say I'm trying my best. That's all I can say. I'm not like my parents are not. My dad is Bafut, and my mom is from Mancon, so I have it all mixed in there, but it's the same language. So I just try to practice it by speaking what comes out of the mouth, and I'm just happy that my people in my community try to understand it, and they pick up what they can hear from it. And I'm so happy that I also have elders that are ready to correct me and tell me what's right, like how to construct my sentences.
We preserve it by making sure that we pass down the values that we've learned from our own parents to our own kids, and we want to make sure that this is persistent.
When growing up, we used to follow our parents to cultural come-togethers, to traditional meetings. We try to do the same with our kids when there are organizations or meetings of this nature. We try to take the kids to these gatherings. We explain the culture to them. We read traditional books to them, and occasionally we take them back home so that they can visit their roots.
Like you just saw here today, we have our monthly gatherings at last Saturdays of every month, and in these gatherings, what is very peculiar that we do, to make sure that we bring the kids closer to our culture, is that we actually teach them the Bafut anthem, make sure that they partake in everything we are doing. We start by talking to them in our local language, which is something that we don't want. We don't want our children to just grow wild. Yeah, we know we are all here in Canada. Of course, we have to take the two cultures, embrace the two cultures that we have. Canada is a diverse society. Of course, we have the Canadian values, but we will not forget our own local values from back home. So we make sure we also teach our kids, our local language. We teach them some of the things that are peculiar about Bafut in particular.
It's one of those things you wish you can do more than you actually doing or already doing at this time. Living in a foreign land, we fall short from time to time, right? It's a little bit different if you were back home. The way we get to kind of promote that culture in the Western world is first we strive to bring the BLM sons and daughters who are gathered, saying Alberta, or who are gathered in Calgary. We try to bring them together. That's one of the things we do. I am a pioneer member of LEGDA Calgary, which is actually the BLM Cultural and Development Association that brings together all sons and daughters within Calgary and the environs. That's one way we are trying to see that we can uphold our culture and maybe even get to pass it across to our children who are born in this country. But it's not as glorious as we would anticipate, right? Like we face
we have a lot of different ways that we promote the Bafut culture. The first is that we come together as Bafut people. So we already identify ourselves as Bafut people. We used our Bafut language to promote our culture. When we meet our brothers and sisters, we speak the Bafut language. Our dressing, we dress during occasions like public occasions, we dress uniquely to show our culture. And then we really have different activities. We have different dances from Bafut. We are really doing more than you may require, you may know, because we recently acquired a set of traditional equipments from Bafut, imported them into Canada, and we have a lot of things that we are planning to showcase our culture in different activities, not limiting ourselves going to the public or showing to the government of Canada what the culture of the Bafut people looks like.
The occasion we are organizing here, it's one of the ways which we use to transfer the culture to other generations. Here, I'm a Bafut man, and very proud to be a Bafut man. The Bafut culture has shaped me to be who I am today, and we have monthly meetings. To start with, from our homes, we teach our children the culture. Then we have monthly meetings in which we meet as a family and we continue to teach our children the culture. And also, you cannot know everything. So when we meet together, we learn some part of the cultures which we do not know from our friends, our mothers who also are visiting, and that's how we pass the culture from one generation to another.
As you can see from my dressing, one way of promoting my culture is by putting on this. Yeah, so this is very peculiar to our culture. And again, I try to speak my dialect to my child or to my entire family, let me put it that way, as a way of passing over the culture.
Can you share a fun fact about your culture and your people?
So, growing up, there was always this one thing about folklore and stories you hear from a cultural perspective is that there's some level of truth to them. So, fun fact about the Bafut people and Bafut culture: Bafut men are very squanderous in the sense that historically they live rich and die broke. So it's no wonder you come here and you take a look at how they have fun. They sure know how to have fun. But mindful of that, I can guarantee you we are working hard to make sure we don't retire and die broke. So that's one fun fact about Bafut people.
One of the fun facts about the Bafut people is, our traditional meal achu. Like when we talk about cow skin, it's something that's very important, like an important item in that meal. And when we were growing up, our parents told us a story that when the white people came to our village, actually, so the Bafut people stole their rainbows and thought that they could actually cook it and make it one of that items in their achu soup, and it never happened. Sometimes when you walk around, you hear they call Bafut people serving kata. It's because there were no roads and they actually had to help remove the white man's Land Rover from the mud, and so they call them serving kata because they actually carried it out of the mud. We don't know how true that story is, but they told us that.
Yeah, so like I said, the Bafut people are warm people, they are outgoing people, they are lovely people, they are boisterous at times, but they are happy people. Happy people because they want to commune, they want to help each other in times of challenges and as well as in good times. And one other fun fact that we need to know about Bafut as a whole is that our current palace is a heritage site it's a UNESCO heritage site and has a museum. So if you go there, it's bringing in lots of visitors from different parts of the world. If you go there, you can see war artifacts and some other historical structures or pieces that were collected in the yesteryears. history is preserved in that place. So we are proud of that, and we are happy to tell the world about it.
Okay, Bafut people can eat achu morning, afternoon, evening without resting. That's a fun fact about it. And why we eat that is because it's a heavy meal. When you eat it in the morning, by the time it's noon, you don't even feel like eating. But as a Bafut lady, I will still want to eat it because that's part of our culture. And what else can I say about Bafut people? They are very hardworking. Their women are very hardworking. Their men too are very loving. So if you're out there looking for a husband or a wife, run to the Bafut people. You'll not regret it.
Our annual dance, which usually hold back home in December, usually just a week before Christmas. Unfortunately, that has not been a regular thing for the past few years because of the unfortunate things that we have back home, happening in our own region of Cameroon. But that is usually a very unique period back home in Bafut in particular, where we have a fun dance. Everyone from every corners of Cameroon, people come back home, they unite just for that event, which is it's a fun thing to be. It's unfortunate, like I said earlier, but this is one of the things that if you are sometime in Cameroon and then or if you visit Bafut, make sure that during December, just a week before Christmas, you make sure you pay a visit to Bafut, because this is a kind of like grandeur occasion that we have during that period, and you have all the beautiful colors of our traditional regalia, and then all the members of the royal family, everybody from everywhere coming there to unite, to dance, just to show or to showcase our culture.
What they call the Bangwa resistance, where the Bangwa people had to resist take over from the Germans. History or legend has it that Le Bialem or Fontaine, by virtue of its location, it's blessed with a topography which is probably, or a landscape that's kind of second to none, with the numerous caves that they had. The then leader at that time, who was able to evade German capture, being captured by the Germans for a very, very long time. But besides being very hospitable people, they are also, by their very nature, very, very friendly people, very, very, very industrious people. Like the common saying that they say, if you go to a country, for those who travel around the Western world, if you travel around the globe, if you go to a country and you look around, you don't see a Nigerian, then probably there is nothing good that can come out of that country. It's the same with a Bangwa person. If you go to any place, say back in Cameroon, if you go to Cameroon, in any state or any city in Cameroon, and you don't find any Bangwa person, you probably got to think twice if you want to stay in that place or not.
I would say Bafut people are really fertile. You can tell here with the number of kids running around.
The Bafut man is a very proud person. The Bafut man doesn't like to be ridiculed. The Bafut man likes to be respected, and he respects other people. The Bafut man doesn't like to be disgraced. So the Bafut man will always carry himself in any society in a way that he will be respected.